Tonight's game is brought to you by Kroger, fresh for everyone. 3 points are a must in the nation's capital. Racing Louisville travel to Washington, one spot out of playoff positioning to take on the Washington Spirit. NWSL standings are extremely tight in the middle of the table. Washington Spirit have already clinched home field advantage in the quarterfinals, but it's Racing Louisville in that 9th spot, one spot out of playoff positioning. With 3 points tonight, a win or a tie won't make any movement in the table tonight. However, these 3 points are going to be crucial as they move forward in the rest of the regular season. Alongside former MLS midfielder Jamie Watson, I'm Anna Whitty. Racing Louisville in their last 7 matches have only saw 3 wins. However, they made massive improvements in their game against Kansas City. How do they build off of that performance?
I believe the last match against Kansas City, although it was a loss, they had a good response. Racing Louisville concedes early inside the first 2 minutes, but from there, they had a really solid performance, confidence-building type performance against Kansas City Current. Now they need to translate that into 3 points. You have to think all the way back to June 7th, 13 games ago since their last shutout. With the Washington Spirit today being a prolific attack, it's very important for Racing Louisville to be solid defensively and score their chances when they get them.
Racing has added a new forward in Bethany Bolser, who brings experience, 2 goals in her 7 appearances with this Racing club.
And what Bolser provides is an aerial threat that the team did not have before acquiring her in a trade midway through the season. So Bolser needs to be able to stay in between the 2 center backs for the Washington Spirit, constantly be a threat aerially, and then try to figure out how she can get Kayla Fisher involved as well, too, in the middle of the park with those flick-ons and knockdowns.
Another threat in the air is midfielder Taylor Flint. She is one of the best defensive midfielders. She leads the league in aerial duels. As a 6'1 midfielder, her structure when it comes to closing down opportunities is key for Racing.
Taylor Flint is vital to what Racing Louisville want to achieve, and at 6'1", she has this massive presence in the park, but it's not just in the air, it's also with her feet. Very calm, very composed, good decision-making in the middle of the park. Today, the key for Flint is to always be present in the middle, clogging up passing lanes, and then trying to link the back 4 to the front 2 today for Racing Louisville.
A big piece that Racing Louisville is going to have to deal with defensively is Washington's forward, Ashley Hatch. She has experience, and she's really speedy.
With Ashley Hatch, she is a combination of being able to challenge you physically, but then also test you in behind with her speed. So with Hatch, you have to make sure to give yourself a 2 to 3 step cushion. That way, if you're one of the Racing Louisville defenders, you can run and approach aerially to be able to challenge Hatch. But also, if Hatch turns around and wants to go for a sprint, you give yourself that little bit of a cushion to win the foot race.
Washington Spirit have a goalkeeper in net in Aubrey Kingsbury, who started every single game so far, looking for her 6th clean sheet. What must Racing do today to be effective against Kingsbury?
Kingsbury is exceptional in the air at going in to collect crosses. So with that, Racing Louisville needs to try to get early services a little bit outside the 6-yard box, preferably on the ground, because that gets the defenders for the Washington Spirit running back towards their own goal and the attackers for Racing Louisville running back to their goal, and it takes away the commanding presence of Aubrey Kingsbury.
Washington is on a 7-game unbeaten streak against Racing Louisville. Racing looking to break that here tonight. It's Washington Spirit Racing Louisville in the nation's capital. Don't go anywhere. We have starting 11s right after this. Washington Spirit Racing Louisville.
Your mornings are all about time. Time to wake up, time to get ready,
and time to get informed.
At Wave News Sunrise, we understand the morning time crunch.
That's why we get right to the news
that matters to you. Dependable weather forecasts so you know what to wear.
And traffic alerts that could affect your morning drive. So by the time you leave your house, you'll be fully informed
and prepared for whatever the day may bring.
Watch Wave News Sunrise, mornings starting at 4:30.
Okay, ideas. Where are we going?
I got one.
What about a comedy show?
I've seen you. I've swiped on you. No. Okay?
Tacos.
Definitely tacos.
The all-new Camry is 100% hybrid. Lease one now for $299 per month or get 4.99 APR financing. Find your vibe in the all-new, all-hybrid Camry. Toyota, let's go places.
A typical insurance You're just another senior.
That is the third health insurance commercial with seniors at a farmer's market.
Right? Don't get me wrong. I love a fresh heirloom, but it's like those companies think we're all the same.
That's why I chose Humana. Before I signed up, I spoke to someone who actually listened to what I needed. She told me about benefits that were right for me, like vision and dental, all in my budget. I finally feel in control. What are you doing?
Taking control.
Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
The weather. It's great when it looks like this. Or maybe this. But not so great like this. And definitely not like this. Whichever one of these Kevin shows you, you can trust that this is always in the forecast. So you can plan on this, or even this. Wave Storm Tracker Kevin Harnett. He's been calling it right for this long. And you can watch him on this, weeknights on Wave News.
Match day at Audi Field between the Washington Spirit and Racing Louisville. It is a beautiful day for soccer here in the nation's capital. Washington Spirit looking to build off of their loss to Orlando last week. Racing Louisville, a big loss to Kansas City. And Louisville's making a lot of changes after their loss to Kansas City. 3 changes for head coach Bev Yanez. However, it's going to be Lauren Millay consistent on that back line.
Those changes you allude to for Racing Louisville is a tactical shift in a 4-4-2. And for Lauren Millay, it's a dual facet role today. Her willingness to get forward on the right side is so important, and it's vital to what Racing Louisville want to do. She'll provide the service offensively, but then defensively, she's got a Mark Kouassi, very good 1v1 defender. If Millay can get a higher starting position, can win her battles, join the attack, she could be a key figure today for Racing Louisville.
Washington Spirit going out in a 4-3-3. Their head coach, Jonathan Heraldes, makes 2 changes. Hal Hirschfeld in the midfield makes her return from yellow card accumulation.
This is a big moment in the year for Washington Spirit. Last game, the Washington Spirit suffer an ACL injury to Andy Sullivan in the midfield. They've already lost Corey Bethune. At the start of the year, it was Bethune, Sullivan, and Hirschfeld. Hirschfeld is the one left standing. Now, the rookie has a big task to take ownership of the midfield. And at 23 years old, this could be a big moment for Hirschfeld and her growth domestically, but also for Emma Hayes in the U.S. women's national team.
Hal Hirschfeld, her 23rd appearance, only missed the last game against Orlando due to that yellow card accumulation. Tonight's game is brought to you by Kroger, fresh for everyone. Center official for today's game is Abdu Ndiaye. And we are seconds away from kick on match day 23 in the NWSL. It is coming down to the wire. This is an important 3 points for the away side. We are underway from Audi Field. Racing Louisville will start with about a possession on their back line. Racing Louisville's head coach Bev Yanez said that they really have to improve off that game against Kansas City. There was major improvements. There was great movement. However, getting forward and getting wide against this Washington Spirit team is going to be really important to see the back of the net here tonight. One high by the Spirit. Hatch in behind, blocked by Millay. A distant shot from Hatch, and that'll go wide. Opening seconds of this one, and Hatch gets an opportunity.
Hatch showing her versatility to be able to drop in between. She is in a good pocket of space just behind the midfield for Racing Louisville. It's going to fall fortuitously to her. Millay involved. Taylor Flint needs to make sure that she does a good job of getting around and helping impact along with Janine Becky defensively with Hatch. This is a threat constantly throughout the evening for Racing Louisville.
Ashley Hatch in her 150th appearance in the NWSL. Started her career with the North Carolina Courage, where she was named Rookie of the Year in the NWSL. Ever since then, has appeared in a Washington Spirit jersey. Ashley Hatch, a player this season that's had to take a completely different role in her 7th year. Hasn't started as many games, only 14 starts, but has been asked to have a big key role off the bench with a lot of rookies around her this year.
For Ashley Hatch and Washington Spirit, they've started out the season with one of the most prolific front three, and Ule Sarr out today with an injury. She hasn't been able to play. Trinity Rodman makes her appearance back on the bench, but she's been out for a while as well. So Hatch has been stuck behind two of the most prolific goal scorers in the NWSL this season. For Racing Louisville, this is a great time to be able to take on Washington Spirit. There are some key players that are out. We alluded to Sarr being out, Bethune's out through a season-ending injury. Same with Andy Sullivan. So Racing Louisville, this may have looked daunting on the schedule months ago. As things came a little bit more into focus, this is a more winnable game now for Racing Louisville.
Washington Spirit are back at home at Audi Field after they lost to the Orlando Pride. It was a 2-0 loss, and head coach Jonathan Heralde said it's a game where we almost had opportunities in the first half. We didn't put away our chances, and then in the second half, Orlando had a really nice opportunity, an own goal that goes off of Tara McKeown, and a PK goal for Marta solidified the Shield winners for the Pride. Washington with a lot of possession here early. Rosamond Kawazi gets it wide. Kawazi dribbles in line, can't get a final touch. Malay, good defensive outing.
That's the battle. That's the battle we're watching right there. Rosamond Kawazi and Lauren Malay, those two will go back and forth all evening long. That is textbook defending from Malay. Waited for the moment when Kawazi got to the end line, was running out of space, and that's when she cut the angle down expertly.
Malay, a consistent player on the back line for Racing Louisville. She leads the team in all-time appearances, now with 106. Malay, kind of one of those quiet leaders on the back line. She does the hard work, she gets forward, but she also can get back defensively, and that's one of the reasons why Yanez has her on the back line, is she just offers consistency in a year for Racing where there's been high highs and low lows. Racing will restart it with their goalkeeper, Katie Lunn. Started every single match so far in a Racing jersey, 4 clean sheets. And Coach Yanez says they've been so happy with how she's been able to help, especially with her feet. A bad ball from Racing. Here comes Hatch inside. Touch and a shot blocked. Ball back in the area. Heading on, and that'll sail over. Ashley Hatch with 2 good opportunities in the first 5 minutes.
Poor giveaway from Ellie Jean, and then the response. Immediately the head goes back and starts backpedaling and gives Ashley Hatch the ability to run into the 18 without any confrontation. It's the forward, Kayla Fisher, that's the one that's back providing pressure. And then watch Hatch in the middle of the screen, gets right across the face of Ellie Jean. Lauren Malay had to stay with Ashley Hatch, and that was the biggest reason why Ashley Hatch was not able to keep that on target.
Racing Louisville, no chances in the attacking third yet. Washington with a really high press. Louisville coming out in this game wanting to make some tactical adjustments, even to their formation of 4-4-2. Here comes Marissa DeGrande, and Paige Mateer will get there first. Paige Mateer, a defender against Erin Wright, who has also made an adjustment. Erin Wright has been a consistent center back at times next to Abby Urseg. Now Erin Wright playing in a left outside back position. How do making these tactical adjustments, players playing in different roles, impact the team on the road?
What you think about with Racing Louisville, the trade that was made that sent Carson Pickett to Orlando City. Right. That was a fixture at left back. So now Yanez has had to make some adjustments, and Wright solidifies defensively against a very potent Washington Spirit attack. But you probably sacrifice a little bit going forward because the inclination for Wright is to stay at home. That puts more pressure and more emphasis on the left midfielder, Janine Becky and Melissa DeGrande, to come over and help out.
Washington Spirit led by their head coach, Jonathan Heralde. He was named the head coach back in January, previously coached Barcelona in Spain's Liga F since 2021. He officially came over in June to coach this side, and it was their assistant head coach, or rather their assistant, Adrian Gonzalez, who coached Washington to start the year. Really massive add to Washington's team, a coach like Heralde's, who has had so much success over in Spain, wanted a new challenge in the NWSL. Heavy ball over the top. Urseg will get there first. And backward pass from Lund. She can't get that to Urseg. It will be the first corner of the game. Washington Spirit will take it.
The angle of approach from McKenna Morris caused a little bit of concern for Katie Lund. Didn't want to take the risk of this getting intercepted. So watch the way in which it's going to be an angle, but Lund will be disappointed with herself. She's able to make that pass 9 times out of 10. So what's the response mentally from Lund? Is she going to be a bit more aggressive to go and try to overcorrect and make the mistake? Or from the mistake to correct it here, go and grab it? Keep an eye on the goalkeeper's positioning.
Stainbrook stands over the corner. Stainbrook inside. Cleared away by Flint. Back in the area. Esme Morgan puts it back in. Balser gets there first. Bethany Balser, a new addition to this Racing Louisville side, comes over from Seattle. It was a trade to send Jalen Howell to Seattle. Balser just adding some of that experience. 2 goals already in a racing kit. However, you look at her time in Seattle last year, had 6 goals in 22 appearances, 5 goals this season in 15 appearances. Washington swings it to Mater. Mater inside, hit it up by Ursag. A shot from Kawasi, blocked. Be a goal kick for Racing. A lot of opportunities in the wide areas from Washington to start.
Kawasi is going to be just off your screen. Watch her come in. As this hangs up in the air, she's trying to catch this where she's going to fall away from it and strike through it. She just catches the underside of the ball, and that's how she's unable to keep that on target.
Washington Spirit in a spot where they clinched not just the playoffs, but they also have home field advantage in the NWSL quarterfinals that start November 9th.
What a great ball.
Important for Washington to get a result as Wright gets really high. Underneath it's DeGrande.
Also in a good pocket of space. They just couldn't get it to her.
Right. The outside back in the area. Kingsbury, her first touches on the ball. Aubrey Kingsbury, the 32-year-old, her 9th year in the NWSL. 5 clean sheets, has appeared in every single game. A very consistent goalkeeper for Washington, the way that Katie Lund has been for Racing. Morgan out wide to Gabrielle Carl. Carl, a heavy touch going forward, has Kawasi in line. Malay steps in.
Oh, that was poor decision making going forward from Courtney Brown, because Lauren Malay had saved the ball from going out. She sacrificed her position in order to do so. Kawasi was in behind, and Courtney Brown for the Washington Spirit just kept taking touches, took away the space, and before she ultimately tried to play it to Kawasi, the moment was gone and the window was closed.
Now Hirschfeld, a lot of time in the midfield. She'll find Kawasi. Flint gets stuck in. Flint, the really consistent defender for Racing Louisville, helps with those defensive pieces as this ball gets deflected. And another corner kick for Washington. Corner kick will be a Louisville ladder corner kick. Kawasi with the short corner, ball inside. Picked up by McKeown with the shot, blocked. What a save by Katie Lund.
Oh my goodness. And what makes this even more impressive, with this being a corner kick, there is a whole host of bodies in there. Watch the way Lund is going to push this save, and she's going to be leaning back, so she pushes it wide and knows that she's going to concede a corner. But if she hits this with the open part of her palm, there's 2 Washington Spirit players there ready to tap it in. That is such a wonderful save from Katie Lund.
Another Louisville ladder corner kick. Stainbrook inside. Touched by Malay. Lund will be there first. A little miscommunication. Lund back out. Stainbrook gets it.
Oh.
Kawasi and nutmeg. Lund punches it out. Awkward touch, and that shot will sail over. Wow, Racing gets fairly lucky in their own 6, and Lund is feeling that collision with Hatch.
So Lund opts to not pick this up. It would have been okay. She was worried there was a bit of a back pass because the ball was cleared back from one of her Racing Louisville teammates, but that would not have been called for a back pass the way that it was awkwardly cleared into her path. Really good job from Katie Lund of colliding with Hatch and knowing that she was going to absorb the contact, but being brave to go in and win it.
Katie Lund is on her way to be an Iron Woman this season for Racing Louisville. She is showcased well, especially in possession for Yanez's side. One piece that Yanez has really challenged Lund on this season. She's only 27 years old, a fairly young goalkeeper, and Yanez has been really happy with her consistency. They'll need Lund big here today. Here comes Hatch. Hatch with the shot. Goes underneath. A lot of people in attendance at Audi Field here today. Good luck for Washington.
Well, Borges just gets caught 2, 3, 4 dribbles, and then just the decision-making is off right now. It's too lackadaisical. Hatch, I think, makes the wrong decision. Hatch should have tried to go for an effort towards goal.
Hatch is all over this final third here today for Washington. Picks the ball up now on the left side. Nice switch from the Washington's center back, Tara McKeown. Washington has scored multiple goals in 3 straight home matches, a collective of 9. A shot from Kawazi. That one will go wide. Washington has really used Audi Field as a fortress this season, especially in their last 3 games. The Spirit are 8-1-2 at Audi this season.
This pressure is suffocating Racing Louisville.
Washington try to split, and Becky will pick it up in the midfield. Janine Becky is a forward here today, but you saw a switch. She was switching positions with Lauren Millay there for a second. Janine Becky, formerly with the Portland Thorns, has now appeared in 8 matches for Racing Louisville. She was a part of that trade with Raylan Turner. McKenna Morris with space. She's 3v1, takes a shot, and that'll go wide. So many opportunities for Washington, especially on frame. How does Racing Louisville stop these chances in the first 15?
Racing Louisville are sabotaging themselves with their inability to play the ball quickly right now. They are just getting caught in possession, dribbling time and time again. And Washington Spirit are getting so many numbers forward at this time. If you need to just bypass the midfield and flip the ball in to one of your 2 forwards, that can help alleviate some of the pressure. This is a cause for concern because one of the players that can hold the ball up to alleviate that pressure, Bethany Balser, is sitting down currently getting treatment.
Balser getting some treatment on that right leg. This is giving a chance for Racing to have a conversation right now. You take a look at the upcoming schedule in the NWSL. It doesn't get any easier for Racing Louisville. They will have to take on Portland at home next week. And after Portland, Racing Louisville will travel to San Diego. So Kansas City Current next Saturday take on the Wave. Seattle will take on Houston. Houston is already out of the playoff picture, but you look at Racing in that 9th spot in the table. 3 points won't make any movement for them today, but if they can get 3 points over Portland, who is in that 7th spot currently, it could put Racing in a good spot.
That is a huge matchup. No 2 ways about it. That was a really, really big one. And Racing need to get something from today's matchup, but that is a big 6-pointer against the Portland Thorns next week.
The weather report for today's game is presented by Wave. It's an 81-degree day here in the nation's capital. No rain, however, 48% humidity is very high, especially in mid-October in the nation's capital. Racing Louisville has played in some really hot days. Kentucky has had a fairly hot summer, so something Racing certainly is used to. Balser is on the sideline, ready to come back into this one. A must-have on this team if you're looking for results here today. Lund with the goal kick. Fans, when Racing wins, you win. This season, Racing has partnered with Wendy's to give you a free small Frosty after all wins. No purchase necessary. The offer is valid the following day after a win. Head to any participating Louisville area Wendy's location to redeem. High pressure from Kayla Fisher. She won't win it. Washington doing a good job just circulating the ball. Some nice possession. Spirit already have 9 shots, only 1 shot on target. However, you look at Racing Louisville, no shots, nothing on target to start this match. Ari Borges in the midfield has been asked to play a little bit wider in what Yanez is trying to do today. It's going to be a big piece of Racing Louisville is Yanez watching her team and seeing how they arise to the challenge of having to make adjustments on match day 23.
So far, the big adversity for Racing Louisville is the pressure of Washington Spirit. They're keeping possession here better than they have at any other point. And as I said, that they turn it over, but they're also just inviting the pressure from Washington Spirit because they're playing in front of the Spirit. They haven't turned the Spirit around once yet.
Stainbrook will switch it all the way to Mater. Mater, typically a midfielder for the Washington Spirit, especially last year in her rookie season, has been asked to play a little bit of a deeper role. Mater, a nice ball inside. One will take control. Racing Louisville looks at their attack, and one player they are really missing is Ochena Kanu. 5 goals on the season, has struggled with injury of late. One player that Yanez is looking to get back, especially with the schedule that Louisville has the rest of the season. Ball movement from Racing on the back line. Tonight's broadcast is presented by Kroger, fresh for everyone. Marissa DeGrande, one of those unsung heroes in a Racing Louisville kit, does some of the simple aspects of the game really well, and that's why Yanez likes having her in the midfield, plus her experience. Too heavy of a ball for Fisher.
That was really, really good from Racing Louisville. Kept possession. They got their rest from having to defend through the first 18 minutes or so of this match, and they were able to string some passes together, make Washington Spirit work defensively, and ultimately it was a poor ball to try to break down the back four for Washington Spirit, but maybe a little bit of sign of encouragement.
Right. Now Racing Louisville have a chance to keep Washington pinned in. Nice set from Malay. Rosamond Kawasi will win it back. You see that hustle from Malay on the flank. And outside back is doing the high press work on the Washington center backs. Nice ball out to Mater. Some space for the outside back to run. McKenna Morris, the rookie out of Clemson, will keep it in play. Washington, no sense of urgency. They've had their opportunities in this one. Ari Borges in the midfield, the Brazilian international, has struggled with her fair share of injuries this season. Only 24 years old, had a knee injury. This is only her 10th start in a Louisville kit, and she's been a really crafty player last year and this year. Not been able to get the shots off that she typically does. She's been asked to play a different role, a little bit wider in this one today.
This is very good from Racing.
Fisher, back into Malay. Fisher again, a heavy touch across, blocked by McKeown.
Really good. That's 2 in a row now for Racing Louisville as they've built up and methodically made their way up the pitch. And so now they get a set piece from it. And this is where I think that Racing Louisville have a slight advantage over Washington Spirit is on set pieces. Get Abby Urseg up, Taylor Flint, obviously one of the big options.
Yep.
Bethany Balser. Got some real big targets to try to look out and key on for these.
It will be a Louisville ladder corner kick taken by Becky, cleared away. Ellie Jean will get it back into the area. Hatch another really good player on the pitch who has battled really well at those aerial duels. Here comes Red again. Inside, Becky. Rather, that's Flint gets ahead on it. No one there to run onto it. Last time Washington traveled to Racing Louisville and Lynn Family Stadium, it was a 2-1 win earlier this season. Malay looking for a chance now on the left side of the pitch. Racing Louisville are led by their head coach, Bev Yanesh, who retired from NWSL play back in 2024. Previously was an assistant with Gotham for 2 seasons and then an assistant with Racing for a season until she was promoted to head coach this season. Ball into Fisher. Fisher takes a shot from distance. Kingsbury there to collect for Washington.
Always want to encourage your forwards to get shots off, but I think Fisher actually had a better option was to try to slip the ball in at the top of the screen. Look, play it now. And that was just too late. The window was gone, and Fisher had to have an effort from the top of the 18. Instead, there was a window of opportunity.
Gorgeous, a heavy touch. Flicks it over. It's a little too much from Racing. However, this is so much better. Only 1 shot from Racing Louisville, but they've had the upper hand in the last 5 minutes or so. Ari Borges trying to get DeGrande involved in that last one. Right now, Racing Louisville with 30 goals on the season. They have never had a season where they have scored more goals. There's been some massive improvements on the field with some of the new additions into their attack. They've really emphasized in the offseason getting some players who can help them score goals. Scoring is not the easiest thing to do in the NWSL. So much parity in this league. I mean, Becky gets fouled on the touchline, a free kick for Racing. Gorgeous and Becky stand over it. Becky in the area, cleared away by McKeown. Becky inside, a header from Balser. Urseg almost there, but it's Kingsbury who looks to go out quickly. Morris can't keep it in play. Racing Louisville with another throw-in. Bethany Balser just showing her aerial presence and how good she is with her head.
Last 6 or 7 minutes for Racing Louisville have been really good. They've grabbed back momentum of this match, and they're starting to create something. Just look at the starting positions and how different they are. First 15 minutes of this match, it was Washington Spirit keeping possession, and everybody from Racing Louisville pinned back in their own half. Now, it's almost as if things have shifted, and now Washington Spirit have 1, 2, only 3 players being able to press. This is where Ellie Jean can't invite the pressure because now Washington Spirit take that space back. It's a fine line of keeping possession, but also inviting pressure.
Katie Lunn with some time. She'll hit it up the pitch. You can hear Yanez on the sideline go with Balser. Balser, that one high player. You saw it a lot in Seattle when Balser was on the range. He was such a high pressing forward, and that's exactly what Yanez traded for. Sending Raylan Turner, a younger rookie player in the NWSL. Rather, Jalen Howe. It was Turner who was a part of the Janine Becky trade. A lot of trades for Racing Louisville in that window.
I think the team got better with the trades.
Fisher stopped.
And that's not to say that the players that departed were not good players. They were very good players, but in order to get a good player, you've got to give up a good player. And with that, I think that the trades that Racing Louisville did filled some needs that they had. And in particular, the biggest one, they can do all the really good football and the good build-up play. They didn't have any sort of an aerial threat up top. And Balser, that's why she was sought after and traded for.
It's not even Balser. It's also Janine Becky involved in the attack as well for Racing Louisville. The experience that Yanez said she needed too. Fisher, one of the young players, gives it back to Malay. Fisher again. Fisher inside, blocked. Another Louisville corner kick. It'll be a Louisville ladder corner.
There's some big shouts from Kayla Fisher about there being a potential handball. We do have video assistant referee Greg Dopka, who will be taking a look and seeing if there was something to that.
Right now, it stands as a corner kick. And you can see Fisher. You checking that one?
Yeah. Referee Abdu Ndiaye will make sure to be in communication. There is something that he missed in real time if there's a clear and obvious error.
Becky has a short option to DeGrande if need be. Becky inside. Cleared away, not far enough. A little too direct from right, and this will be a Washington goal kick. Louisville Racing's next home match is on October 19th against the Portland Thorns, bringing the whole family out for a 7:30 p.m. kick at Lynn Family Stadium. Visit RacingLouisvilleFC.com for more information. Portland match will be so important for Racing Louisville. Portland coming off a big win against Orlando. They broke Orlando's unbeaten streak Friday night. Right, has Flint centrally. She'll give it to her. Hatch will win it back. Racing Louisville, a team that has finished in 9th place every single season dating back to 2021. Still looking for their first playoff opportunity. This is the first year in the NWSL, A, that they've had 14 teams, but B, that 8 teams could make it into the playoffs instead of 6. It's going to be such a fun playoffs race, especially we get towards the end of the season. Already 5 teams have clinched a spot in the playoffs. 3 teams left to make one of their own. Washington with some possession. A touch and a shot. Nothing that's really going to test Lund, and a foul will be called against Courtney Brown. Gorgeous, slow to get up. Racing Louisville has had not just a fun regular season and a summer cup, but they had an opportunity in the Women's Cup to play against some teams across the world. A match against Palmeiras, a team out of Brazil, and then also an opportunity to play against Colo Colo, a team out of Chile. Yanez, so happy and thrilled to have the opportunity not only just to host it in Louisville and welcome so many different people from across the world into their home, but also play different styles.
What an incredible tournament the Women's Cup was, and we were fortunate enough to be there at Lynn Family Stadium, one of the best venues in the entirety of the NWSL, and to be able to welcome in an international audience and to be able to put on display what is being done in Louisville. To the likes of club president James O'Connor and the ambitions that they have, and I think to the chairman John Neese, on down to head coach Bev Yanez, the ambition to be able to bring in teams from 3 different parts of the world. And that was a wonderful tournament. Juventus women ultimately lifting the trophy when it was all said and done. But it's the ambition of this club. They also have a men's team in the USL Championship and has just won the Players' Shield, or the best regular season.
Ball inside, Fisher. Looks to be Kingsbury. It's a heavy touch. Mater will get it out of harm's way. Wow, it'll be an offside position anywho, but a really good look from Fisher.
Fisher, watch on the middle of your screen. That was very, very close, but the delayed offside, because we do have video review. If that had gone in the back of the net, the flag would have gone up just like it did anyways, to be able to call it off. But that is the first time we've seen a pass get connected in behind the back four of Washington Spirit. What that will do now was cause a little bit of concern for the back four for Washington Spirit. Maybe they drop a step or two, and there's a little bit more space now to play in front.
Kawazi, 1v1 against Malay. Kawazi inside, underneath, blocked by Urseg. Defensive effort by Racing Louisville. Kawazi getting free the way she did in the opening 10 minutes for the Spirit.
Kawazi versus Malay. It's a matchup we keyed on in the pregame as one of the biggest components to success for both teams. And that time Kawazi gets the best of Malay. First time we've seen that really in the first 33 minutes.
Washington keeping Racing pinned in. Balser gets her chest on it. An awkward takedown. It did look like a handball in the moment that it happened. And Balser's fighting for the right, but that certainly was what it was. I'm questioning that decision from Balser too. Why she put her hands up on that one, but it was a good read nonetheless by Balser. Al Hirschfeld in the midfield for Washington Spirit. Her rookie season out of Clemson has taken the NWSL by storm. Only missed 1 game this year, 2 goals. She was a player during the NWSL draft that every team was vying for, and since coming into the NWSL has made her name a staple name in the league and on the U.S. women's national team.
Washington Spirit did a good job of trading for Hirschfeld with the rights to draft her.
Kawasi wide. Goes inside to Brown. A one-touch awkward hit underneath to Hirschfeld. Esme Morgan, the former Manchester City player, getting forward in the area, Lund off her line.
Good little glimpse of Esme Morgan getting involved for the first time, really going forward. Lund has had good command of her box so far.
Oh, an awkward pass, a shot in the back of the net for Washington. They take the lead. The rookie, McKenna Morris, her 3rd goal on the season, gives Washington a 1-0 lead at home.
One of the key components of why Racing Louisville on the outside looking into the playoffs, mistakes that they're making, and that is just an unfortunate error from Katie Lund. She tries to play this with the inside of her foot. She has to make the extra effort to clip this up and over McKenna Morris if she's going to try to keep possession. It's all well and good trying to play out of the back, but you can do it right 9 times out of 10. That 1 out of 10 was this one where McKenna Morris wins it and decisively goes high, knowing that Lund is going to dive low on the save. That is a fantastic finish, but a poor mistake and indicative of some of the reasons why Racing Louisville are on the outside looking into the playoffs.
McKenna Morris has been a big addition to Washington Spirit in the matches, because whenever Heraldes came over, McKenna Morris has had now 10 opportunities to appear in these games, 3 goals, her 2nd start on the year. Washington Spirit putting an exclamation point on that error pass from Katie Lund. Racing Louisville now needing to respond to this one. Racing can't drop out even more out of the playoff picture with a loss here today. However, without any points on the road, certainly isn't going to help their cause.
Racing Louisville are running out of time. This is always going to be a difficult matchup, but you just cannot make mistakes like that. This had to be a game that was mistake-free, and Katie Lund was just getting done praising her for her ability to command her box, and ultimately a little bit of pressure. Wrong decision to play the inside of her foot instead of trying to clip this up and over. Sometimes you just have to put your foot through the ball, and you just got to clear it.
Katie Lund making a massive mistake in goal for Racing Louisville. A piece of her game that Coach Inez has really challenged her on this season, needing her to get better at. Fortunately for the goalkeeper, it doesn't work in their favor in the 36th minute. Tara with a nice battle against Fisher. She'll win it going forward. What must the response from Racing Louisville be after that goal?
Confidence-wise, you cannot waver. You cannot make a mistake. You're at your most vulnerable 5 minutes after a goal is scored. Both teams are. So for Racing Louisville, they got to continue to go forward. They had a really good stretch for about 15 minutes inside the half. They were the better team. They were the team that was keeping possession, moving the ball quickly. So if you're going to try to continue to play on the back and not waver from your principles, that's fine. But you got to continue to do it quickly.
Louisville looking to clean up some of those principles, especially some of the adjustments that Yanez is making in this game. That's a massive challenge for a team on match day 23 to change aspects that they're trying to play. But Yanez said, I have open door policy. I've told you exactly how I want to play. If you have any questions, you can come in, but I expect it to be executed well here today. Racing still with plenty of time to come back. Coach Inez was really disappointed in the result against Utah 2 games ago. It was a 1-0 loss to Utah, who has really struggled at points throughout the season. She felt like it was a game where they had to get a result. Then they traveled home to take on Kansas City Current. They dropped 2-0. However, Inez really happy with the improvements in the performance. Kawazi inside, Jean will block. Kawazi again. Malay having to put in a huge defensive effort against Kawazi on this left side. Inside, back out to Kawazi, a give and go. Kawazi is offside.
It's really good from Malay. The reason she's so aggressive is she doesn't want Kawazi to get enough space to turn and face her up. So Malay, very aggressive, trying to keep Kawazi facing away from goal. Good tight line, though, from Racing Louisville when that 1-2 gets played to keep Kawazi in an offside position.
This is the 9th match between Washington and Racing Louisville. Washington has scored a goal in every single match that they have played against Racing Louisville since Racing started in 2021. So this is the 10th match between the two sides. The 9th match ended in a 2-1 win for the Spirit. Kayla Fisher, a player who's grown a lot into this season for Racing Louisville. Coach Inez happy with what she's been able to provide off the bench and says that she's been able to step into this role because she's had more confidence. She understands how they want to play a little bit better. This is a big start for Fisher and a shot from Stainbrook. That'll sail wide. Heather Stainbrook in the midfield, her second start on the year for Washington. Only appeared in now 9 matches. She was drafted out of Utah Valley this past January. Coach Heraldes certainly using some of the players that he typically doesn't use. Yanez playing with some of the consistent numbers because this is an important result for Racing Louisville. They have to get 3 points on the road as they only have 2 matches left to be played in the regular season. Flint will go down. Kawazi throws the ball down. That will definitely be a yellow card. And as Uraldes looks on, a yellow card is handed to Rosemont Kawazi, rather shown to Kawazi. Flint still down on the ground.
Poor reaction from Kawazi. No need for it, really. Well, that was a tough landing for Taylor Flint as well, too. Or excuse me, Becky, but that was a poor reaction, unnecessary. Always going to be a yellow card.
Becky is back up on her own 2 feet. She's able to keep going, but weird decision from Kawazi to pick the ball up and chuck it down. Clearly out of frustration, but that will not be allowed by RDI. Catch into Kawazi. Kawazi a touch forward. Inside, Morris puts it home. McKenna Morris with a brace doubles the lead for Washington.
Kawazi's speed has been a constant threat and a constant problem. Another giveaway. Ellie Jean, she plays it right into the path of Washington Spirit. They pick it off, and because of the possession and the way that Racing Louisville want to play, Lauren Millay is up the field, but when that turnover happens, Kawazi attacks the space in which Millay leaves. She draws the attention of Lund, who has to come over, and it's incredibly selfless to square it across to McKenna Morris. It's the easiest goal she'll score all season long, and Washington Spirit again take advantage of another mistake from Racing Louisville.
Erceg made that movement out wide to go 2v1 against Kawazi. Do you like that decision from the center back, even though she had Morris?
You've got to go over and you've got to apply pressure. Kawazi was inside the corner of the 6-yard box. If there's no pressure, then we're asking the question, why doesn't Erceg come over and apply pressure? Right. It's just one of those.
Here comes Fisher down the other end, a chance to pull one back. Fisher inside, a nutmeg, a shot from right. Barely handled by Kingsbury, but Washington will keep it out of their own back net.
Finally, some balls that are turning around the defense for Washington Spirit. Good recognition from Kayla Fisher. That was good from DeGrande to get called off. I'm not sure if it was from Becky or from Wright who had called her off, but good recognition and selfless play from DeGrande to leave it.
Some pressure on Hirschfeld. And here the stands at Audi Field. They want 3. Not quite yet. It's a foul called against Brown. Millay still down on the ground.
Courtney Brown couldn't believe that there was a foul call, but there was a bit of a collision there, I think. And I gets it correct.
Stoppage time is presented by the Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. Referee has 2 minutes of stoppage time here from Audi Field. Racing desperately needs a goal. It's Balser inside to Borges. Borges continues it to Becky. She'll take a shot. Nothing that's going to threat Kingsbury. Now Racing Louisville feel a little bit more confident. Janine Becky getting forward. She's a player that Yanez desperately said they needed when it comes to just experience. Her morale in the locker room has been huge since Becky came over. A player who had a season-ending ACL injury last season. Came over to the NWSL. It's been her first year in the league in 2022 with Portland. And is now bringing that Canadian and NWSL experience to this racing side. Millay, quick throw in to Jean. Ali Jean, one of the substitutions, has started in now 5 matches for Racing Louisville. Moves Aaron Wright into that left back role. That is it for the first half of action between Racing Louisville and Washington Spirit. McKenna Morris, a brace in the first half for the Spirit.
2 mistakes from Racing Louisville, punished by McKenna Morris. She's the first rookie this season in NWSL to grab a brace. Racing Louisville are going to have to cut out the mistakes and start to turn around the Washington Spirit more if they want to get back into this match.
Plenty to talk about at the half. Highlights and stats right after this. Washington Spirit take a commanding lead at the half, 2-0. Racing Louisville desperately need a few to get back in this one. Yanez, Balser are going to work hard in the second half. We have plenty at the halftime break. It's Washington Spirit 2, Racing Louisville 0.
When you need inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger. For thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And low prices that add up to big savings, like over $600 in digital coupons each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. Big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
I'm Beverly Yanez, and I'm the head coach of Racing Louisville. We always have to be aware of what the weather looks like to understand what tomorrow may bring, but also be adaptable on the day to make any adjustments that we need. It massively impacts, obviously, what we wear to what we do and how we do it. And if it's hot, if it's a storm, we have to adjust the time of training. It's important that it's safe for our players. That's why I trust Kevin Harnett and the Wave Storm tracking team. I get an accurate forecast that Racing Louisville can count on every single day. It's really important for us.
The Wandering Son returns. The older brother, who's been away from the family for over 1,000 days, is back. A little bolder, more sophisticated, stronger yet leaner. The all-new Land Cruiser resumes its place alongside the new, more dynamic Tacoma, the powerful Tundra, the legendary 4Runner, and the full-size adventuring Sequoia to reunite Toyota's 5 brothers. The family that plays together stays together. Toyota, let's go places.
A typical insurance, you're just another senior.
That is the 3rd health insurance commercial with seniors at a farmer's market.
Right? Don't get me wrong. I love a fresh heirloom, but it's like those companies think we're all the same.
That's why I chose Humana. Before I signed up, I spoke to someone who actually listened to what I needed. She told me about benefits that were right for me, like vision and dental, all in my budget. I'm finally feeling control. What are you doing?
Taking control.
Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
I'm Beverly Yanez, and I'm the head coach of Racing Louisville. We always have to be aware of what the weather looks like to understand what tomorrow may bring, but also be adaptable on the day to make any adjustments that we need. It massively impacts, obviously, what we wear to what we do and how we do it. And if it's hot, if it's a storm, we have to adjust the time of training. It's important that it's safe for our players. That's why I trust Kevin Harnett and the Wave Storm tracking team. I get an accurate forecast that Racing Louisville can count on every single day. It's really important for us.
Tonight's halftime score is brought to you by GE Appliances. Washington Spirit with a 2-0 lead over Racing Louisville. It was a brace from rookie McKenna Morris. Racing Louisville's defender Aaron Wright, her first season in a Racing Louisville kit, makes her return back to her home state, where she also played her college ball at Kentucky.
My name is Erin Wright, but you can call me Gilly, and I'm a defender for Racing Louisville. So my soccer story began here in the good state of Kentucky. I was 4 years old, and I played for Kentucky Youth Soccer. I actually started playing with boys until I was 10, and then they were like, Gilly, you're actually going to have to start playing with girls. So I was like, okay. So they moved me to a girls team at U10. And I played with that team until I was 16 years old, and we actually didn't have enough players to field the team. And so my team folded, and there weren't enough spots on the Louisville, the Mockingbird team at the time. So I drove all the way to Ohio, and I played for Ohio Elite for 2 years. And that was fun when they were like, bring your shovels to practice. And I said, ooh, I might not be at that one. So finished out, I played ECNL with Ohio Elite, and that's kind of where I got scouted. And I ended up deciding to go to the University of Kentucky. Fun fact, it actually wasn't my first choice, sorry, University of Kentucky. But the reason I ended up changing that is during that whole process, my mom was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. So it changed my priorities. And then when I visited Kentucky, it almost gave like a whole, because at that point I hadn't really visited UK. And then when I visited, it gave me this whole new feeling and emotion towards the university and being like, wow, I actually could have a career here and have my family life as well, which was very important to me. And my brother was 10 at the time. So I knew if anything happened to my mom, like I wanted him to have a female figure in his life. So I ended up going to University of Kentucky. Best decision I ever made. Absolutely loved everyone there. I got to take the team to the Sweet 16, which was really freaking cool because the university hadn't ever made it there. And then after that, I got drafted first round, 8th pick to the Chicago Red Stars. And I was there until now. And now I am back home and I couldn't be more excited.
Love to see defender Erin Wright back home in Louisville, Kentucky. An amazing story from the outside back. We have plenty more to discuss here in the nation's capital. Washington Spirit with a 2-0 lead over Racing Louisville at the half. Don't go anywhere. We have highlights and stats right after this break.
Solutions. It's what real journalism is all about. At Wave News, that's what we're all about too. That's why the troubleshooters don't just talk about problems. We solve them by challenging the status quo, asking the tough questions, and refusing to accept no comment. We'll take our cameras anywhere and talk to anyone to tackle problems in Louisville and Southern Indiana. The Wave News troubleshooters. We find solutions for our community.
When you need inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger. For thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And low prices that add up to big savings, like over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Get out there and get away. Get to a game. Get out for a night out in a new Toyota.
Toyota has more all-wheel drive choices than anyone else, like this all-wheel drive RAV4 Hybrid.
When it comes to SUVs, more people count on RAV4 year after year after year.
Now get 4.99 APR financing on a new RAV4 or lease a gas-powered RAV4 LE for $339 a month. Plus 2 years, no-cost maintenance.
Get out there and have some fun in a new Toyota. Let's go places.
Do I need a coat today? Is it going to rain? How should I dress the kids for school? You have questions.
Your Wave storm tracking team
has all the answers.
Rain or shine, hot or cold, no matter what Mother Nature throws your way, be prepared.
Every morning with Tawana.
And every evening with Kevin.
AM to PM, be ready.
The kiddos may need the jacket, the coat, maybe even the gloves this morning.
And then in the afternoon, a few more scattered downpours.
With Kevin Harnett and Tawana Andrew, only on Wave News. Solutions. It's what real journalism is all about. At Wave News, That's what we're all about, too. That's why the troubleshooters don't just talk about problems. We solve them by challenging the status quo, asking the tough questions, and refusing to accept no comment. We'll take our cameras anywhere and talk to anyone to tackle problems in Louisville and Southern Indiana. The Wave News Troubleshooters. We find solutions for our community.
Get out there and get away. Get to a game. Get out for a night out in a new Toyota.
Toyota has more all-wheel drive choices than anyone else, like this all-wheel drive RAV4 hybrid.
When it comes to SUVs, more people count on RAV4 year after year after year.
Now get 4.99 APR financing on a new RAV4 or lease a gas-powered RAV4 LE for $339 a month. Plus 2 years no-cost maintenance.
Get out there and have some fun in a new Toyota. Let's go places.
Tonight's halftime score is brought to you by GE Appliances. Washington Spirit with a 2-0 lead over Racing Louisville in the nation's capital. Beautiful day for some soccer. Racing desperate to come back in this one in order to find themselves in a playoff position towards the end of the season. A lot is happening in the NWSL. There's only 2 regular season match days left. Utah Royals currently with a 3-0 lead over Seattle. It's a hat trick from Chloe Lacasse, the first hat trick in the NWSL this season. Later tonight, San Diego Wave play host to the Houston Dash. And as we look on to the next week in the NWSL, Racing Louisville have a really important one at Lynn Family Stadium against the Portland Thorns. We will have more to come. Plenty to chat about here. Highlights after this break. It's Washington Spirit 2, Racing Louisville 0.
A typical insurance, you're just another senior.
That is the third health insurance commercial with seniors at a farmer's market.
Right? Don't get me wrong. I love a fresh heirloom, but it's like those companies think we're all the same.
That's why I chose Humana. Before I signed up, I spoke to someone who actually listened to what I needed. She told me about benefits that were right for me, like vision and dental, all in my budget. I'm finally feeling control. What are you doing?
Taking control.
Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
I'm Beverly Yanez, and I'm the head coach of Racing Louisville. We always have to be aware of what the weather looks like to understand what tomorrow may bring, but also be adaptable on the day to make any adjustments that we need. It massively impacts, obviously, what we wear to what we do and how we do it. And if it's hot, if it's a storm, we have to adjust the time of training. It's important that it's safe for our players. That's why I trust Kevin Harnett and the Wave Storm tracking team. I get an accurate forecast that Racing Louisville can count on every single day. It's really important for us.
Get out there and get away. Get to a game. Get to the campground.
Get out there and have some fun in a new Toyota truck.
Like the trail-dominating Toyota Tacoma.
The best-selling truck in its class for the past 19 years.
Or the dominatingly powerful new Tundra.
Now you can lease a new Tacoma from just $319 a month.
Or you can get a new Tundra with 1.99 APR financing or $2,000 customer cash.
Nobody builds trucks better than Toyota. Let's go places.
Front loader odor. You know that smell when you open your funky front load washer? But at GE Appliances, we've engineered the first and only front load with an ultra fresh vent system with odor block. Equipped with vents that help keep it dry and antimicrobial technology that protects against bacteria. Basically, funky to fresh, so you can shut the front door.
No one says that.
Another way we make good things for life.
No.
What?
I'm Beverly Yanez, and I'm the head coach of Racing Louisville. We always have to be aware of what the weather looks like to understand what tomorrow may bring, but also be adaptable on the day to make any adjustments that we need. It massively impacts, obviously, what we wear to what we do and how we do it. And if it's hot, if it's a storm, we have to adjust the time of training. It's important that it's safe for our players. That's why I trust Kevin Harnett and the Wave Storm tracking team. I get an accurate forecast that Racing Louisville can count on every single day. It's really important for us.
Tonight's halftime score is brought to you by GE Appliances. Washington with a 2-0 lead, and the Spirit started really strong with corners and opportunities from the wide areas.
And Washington Spirit thought they had gotten on the board except for this fantastic save from Lund. Watch how she's able to push this around, concedes a corner, but doesn't give up a rebound inside the box. And it was all going so well for Racing Louisville with their building out of the back until it wasn't. And this time, Katie Lund just puts it right into the path of McKenna Morris, the rookie, with a really good first touch, getting it on her preferred right foot, and absolutely smashes it beyond Katie Lund. From that distance, nothing she can do. Lund's trying to go out wide to right. Instead, she goes to the inside of her foot instead of clipping it. And now McKenna Morris goes high and hard to the near post. We get to the end of the first half. It was another mistake. Ellie Jean just passed the ball right to the Spirit. And now Kawasi goes 1v1. Ursay comes over to provide support as Kawasi had gotten the angle. That leaves McKenna Morris open at the back post. And that was as easy of a goal as McKenna Morris will score all season. She becomes the first rookie in the NWSL to score a brace all season.
McKenna Morris, the rookie out of Clemson, gets on the score sheet twice for the Spirit. One substitution made for Racing Louisville. Savannah DeMello will take the field and take off Marissa DeGrande. This is the first match. DeMello has not started this season for Racing Louisville. A huge add to the pitch, the 26-year-old player who has 5 goals, 2 assists on the season, and the 5 goals is really important when it comes to racing and what they need to get in the second half. Savannah DeMello, drafted 4th back in 2022. Washington Spirit will start with the ball first, and we are back underway from Audi Field. Hal Hirschfeld will get the ball rolling. Tongue twister there. McKenna Morris, the goal scorer in this one so far. It was an error pass from Katie Lund in the first one, and McKenna Morris able to hit one home from Kawasi, who really had been driving the left sideline all game for the Spirit. Coach Yanez making some small tactical adjustments. And one of the big ones was just more options higher, wanting to get overloads on the 2 center backs for the Washington Spirit. Yanez pleased in training, but is not going to be pleased with this score line here in the second half. That substitution for DeMello coming on is presented by Fortna. Better movement from Racing. Becky inside has Flint. Becky, one touch in the area. Header by Balser, just nearly wide of far post.
There's your opportunity. Inside 90 seconds from the halftime interval, these chances have got to be put away. At this point in the season, this point in the matchup, this is a tremendous service. And for a player of Bethany Balser's quality, she absolutely expects herself to score that.
Bethany Balser, 2 goals for Racing this season, 5 goals when she was with Seattle earlier in the year. Comes the Spirit again. Kawasi on it. Kawasi inside. Kawasi takes the shot. That sails wide for Washington.
Just to show just how dangerous Washington are. Should be 2-1. And seconds later, it's inches away from being 3-0. Kawasi gets isolated 1v1. And Ursay is just trying to slow her down. Good tracking back from Jean. That is a good bit of skill from Kawasi and showing how dangerous she is 1v1. That's why we highlighted her at the start of the proceedings, and she's lived up to the hype inside the first 47.5 minutes.
Kawasi, a massive add to Washington Spirit this season, only 22 years old. It's on a 4-year contract that she signed back in July, previously in the top division in France, where she featured for 2 years for FC Fleury. Tonight's broadcast is presented by Kroger, fresh for everyone. With DeMello coming on for Marissa DeGrande as Washington uses their high press again, Stainbrook heads it on. Lunge made a mistake early in the match. This time she's just going to kick it all the way up the pitch. The substitution that Racing Louisville made, how does this impact the midfield?
It impacts the midfield for Racing Louisville vastly, bringing on DeMello and taking off DeGrande. First of all, we didn't say DeGrande's name nearly enough. Not really present at all in the attack in the first half. So DeMello, she brings a creative force. Her ability to open up the field with her passing is one of her biggest attributes. She's really good on set pieces with her delivery. But also, she's got 5 goals on the season. So when she gets around the box, if she gets the opportunity to have an effort at goal, Mello has proven that she can score, and goals are exactly what Racing Louisville need. They need one early to try to get back into this.
Racing Louisville, 30 goals on the season, coming off a match against Kansas City where they didn't see a goal, no goals against Utah, and Balser is down on the ground.
Collision off the ball, yeah. It's as though that Esme Morgan and Balser collided, and all eyes were on Malay, who had the ball as Balser is making her way across. She ran into Esme Morgan, or Morgan made sure that she ran into her. That is exactly what happens. Top of your screen, Balser goes to the ground. Center backs love to do that. And the reason being, now Balser is going to be thinking about, where is Esme Morgan? Am I going to get hit again as I go across? It is just something that center backs do. It's part of the game, and to make it necessarily comfortable for the center forward, and that's what Esme Morgan wants to do.
Balser is not a player who ever shies away from contact. She is known in the NWSL to be great in the aerial presence and fight for every single ball, especially on set pieces and crosses. Erin Bright, the former University of Kentucky defender, gets it inside to Becky. Here comes Wright, the overlapping run. DeMello drives, gets it out to Wright. Fisher, marked twice. Wright, no whistle yet. Right inside, no one there to finish. Now they call it an offside position for Erin Wright. Racing Louisville making that decision to move Wright into an outside back position. Courtney Peterson comes off. Here's what happened with that overlapping run.
Just a really tight window. Wright's trying to get back into an onside position. Fisher has to know in that moment Wright's momentum and carry her to an offside position, so she's got to wait to get her back onside.
Coach Inez says the conversations about the playoffs is something that we have, of course, but we've really embraced the position that we are in. Inez says we have 3 games to make the playoffs, and we really need to just focus on the performances in these matches. Racing Louisville hoping to make their playoff appearance for the first time in club history this year. Nice turn by Borges. She gets Brown off her back. All right, Borges, the crafty Brazilian, out wide. Nice ball into Balser, back out to Fisher. It's almost there, but that final piece for Racing just not able to connect.
At this point in the season, almost isn't good enough, though.
Right.
It's good movement. It's the right option from Borges to come inside and to get the ball into Balser. It's good movement, but then that last pass just carries it over.
Substitution getting ready on the sideline. Trinity Rodman, the forward for the Washington Spirit, has been a massive threat. 8 goals, 6 assists this season for the Washington Spirit. Trinity Rodman, a young player who is nominated for a Ballon d'Or this season. Hasn't featured yet in this match, but if you're Racing Louisville, how important is it to get better looks, get opportunities before Washington Spirit might add some of these threats like Rodman?
Well, Balser had the wonderful opportunity inside the first 90 seconds. Got to score that. That doesn't happen. What I've been pleased about from Louisville, though, is their ability to continue to press forward, continue to get numbers forward, and they have been the more aggressive of the 2 teams. Kawasi did have her opportunity immediately after Balser's miss, but Louisville has committed more numbers forward in the attack, and they've started to look more threatening than they have really to any point throughout tonight's match.
Washington will win it back. The possession numbers between Washington and Louisville were fairly equal throughout the first half. 15 shots, though, from Washington, only 5 shots from Racing Louisville. Right now, Racing has dominated the possession, 57% of it, but you've only really seen it in their own back half. Hatch with a nice turn underneath. It's a toe poke away, a shot blocked. Stainbrook cleared by Wright. Former forward, and Tara McKeown gets forward. McKeown across, blocked by Wright.
Every attack is different. But when you notice that Washington Spirit get into attack, they get 4, 5, and 6 players into the box. It's the opposite of Racing Louisville. They get 2, maybe 3. If your wildest imaginations get 4 in the box.
Right.
It's just a matter of getting more numbers in the box. Washington Spirit do it just about as good as any team in the NWSL.
It will be a Louisville ladder corner kick. Stainbrook opts for the short option. Kawazi, a nice touch. Gets pulled down in the box. It is a penalty kick for the Washington Spirit. And DI points right to that mark.
Without a doubt. Absolutely a penalty. Becky gets turned around. She goes beyond her, pulls her back. That is absolutely a penalty. Now the question is, McKenna Morris has 2 goals. She's on a hat trick. Do you allow the rookie to go? Watch this little bit of change of space. That is so good. And Becky gets the wrong side, pulls the arm back. That is absolutely a penalty. Ashley Hatch normally takes penalties as well. It's be interesting to see who's going to step over and take this one.
Ashley Hatch is 10 for 10 at the PK mark for the Washington Spirit. Right now, Tara McKeown is the one holding the ball in a Washington kit and officially passes it off to Ashley Hatch.
And Hatch varies her approach. Out of her last 5, 3 of them have gone to the goalkeeper's left. 2 of them have gone to the goalkeeper's right. And as you alluded to, Ashley Hatch has made 10 of her last 10 penalties.
Hatch does not make mistakes when it comes to PK. She'll stand over this one to make it 3 for Washington if she hits it home. Hatch with the shot. Yes. Ashley Hatch with her 11th PK made gives Washington the 3-0 lead.
And with that penalty, Ashley Hatch goes 6th all-time free and clear, passing Megan Rapinoe for most goals in NWSL history. Here's how we get there. Lovely change of pace from Kawasi. Had an assist on the second goal. Creates the penalty, and Ashley Hatch is money from 12. That is confident. It's calm. It's exactly what you expect from Ashley Hatch. 3 goals to the good for Washington Spirit.
Ashley Hatch is the 35th NWSL player to make the milestone of 150 regular season matches. That's 52 career goals for Hatch. Wow, what a start to the second half for Washington. Racing has the work cut out for them. Washington not done yet. Kawazi. She eventually gets stopped by Louisville. Louisville preparing for a substitution on the sideline. And this is where Louisville has to get things right. Down by 3 on the road. Ball inside to Malay. Malay across. McKeel blocks. And to your point, Jamie, Balser's the only one making the run inside the box.
There's just not enough numbers going forward. And again, sometimes it's a counterattack, transitional moment. It's difficult to make it to the box, but it's not the same level of commitment. You're starting to see how good it can be versus what it is for Racing Louisville.
Another corner kick for Racing Louisville. It's a Louisville ladder corner kick. Becky will stand over it. Right now, Washington Spirit, a 2-0 lead. This puts them in the second spot in the standings, which means if everything stood, as Becky puts this in the area, grabbed by Kingsbury. If play stands, Washington Spirit would host at Audi Field, and they would host the Portland Thorns. Still 2 matches left to be played in the NWSL after this one. Louisville still has a chance to make it to the playoffs. Ashley Hatch, a player who has overcome so much, not just in a Washington kit, but also in a U.S. national team kit. Didn't get added to the World Cup roster, didn't get added to the Olympic roster this past summer, has been used off the bench more than she ever has in her career, yet when she hits the field, consistency is what she's known for.
That is Ashley Hatch in a nutshell. And she goes again being a target for this cross.
Kawasi inside, that one's lifted over and out. Substitution to be made for Racing Louisville. Emma Sears will step on for Bethany Balser. Emma Sears, the 23-year-old, on a 1-year deal. She was signed to Racing back in January, drafted 28th out of Ohio State. She's a 3-time All-Big Ten honors player, 4 goals and an assist on the season. That substitution is brought to you by Fortnum.
Sears is a very rapid player, really quick. Create things with her ability 1v1, and she likes to get into space and run. Right now, that effort, that willingness to run is what Racing Louisville need. You can appreciate good soccer and wanting to build out the back, but Washington Spirit have been completely okay with that. 2 of the goals have been from mistakes made in the build-up, and now you get Emma Sears, who just has this knack for being able to run and be able to create things. And build up in 12 passes, 15 passes, 20 passes if you want. Sometimes 1 or 2 and in behind is even more effective.
Transition can be the name of the game at times in the NWSL. We have seen it before. Chicago Red Stars looked for several goals, almost were able to get a result over Gotham yesterday. Louisville, join us at Racing's home finale on October 19th as your Racing Louisville Football Club takes on Portland Thorns at 7:30. Please visit RacingLouFC.com. A shot, Kingsbury will collect. A shot coming off the foot of Savannah DeMello. Only shot from DeMello here in the second half. Coach Heraldes, coach coming over from Spain, has led this Washington Spirit side, who has a lot of young players, a lot of rookies on their team, to a really nice position in the NWSL standings. Even without their rookie midfielder, Corey Bethune, who leads the league with 10 assists, they've still been able to get the results they need.
This Washington Spirit side is going to be very good for a very long time in this league.
Washington doing all the things right off the field as well, thanks to one of their owners, Michelle Kang. Bring in the right people at the right time, getting the right people at Audi Field. You hear this crowd. The excitement for women's soccer in the Washington area is something that's been coming for a long time. Washington making it fun to watch and cheer on. Kawasi blocked. Goes out of bounds, and it will be a corner kick for the Spirit as Borges took the blunt of that shot. Borges nods, she's good to go. This corner kick is presented by Louisville Ladders. Rosamund Kawasi still in search of her first NWSL goal. Short option for Stainbrook. Kawasi inside. Right, gives it to Becky. Mater has some time. Really heavy pass into Hatch. Hatch gets there. Mater back inside, headed away by Jean. Washington, time and time again, keeping the play alive for themselves. What's been so impressive about this Washington side is how many chances in second and third and fourth and fifth chances they get off of just one cross.
It's the pressure that Washington Spirit just continue to sustain when they get forward, and that really is a big key to the success for the Spirit this side. And their depth has been tested more so now than at any point in the season. And this has been an incredible response from the Washington Spirit.
Couple substitutions being made for the Spirit. Big ones for the Spirit as this ball gets wide. Carl to Kawazi. That pass not able to get to Emma Sears, and that could have been the outlet for Racing. Hirschfeld all the way back to Mater. Louisville in a position where it's almost too late to make decisions where you're like, we have to get better. It has to be more consistent. With 2 games after this one, we've seen so many teams across the NWSL who've stayed consistent since match day 1. Racing Louisville still have a few things that they have to get right if they want to find themselves in the playoff picture. Great ball movement from Washington. They break several Racing lines. Louisville still in search of a goal in the 65th minute. This is the longest stretch this season. Louisville have gone without scoring. They have not scored on the road since their last game before the Olympic break. It has been a tough going for this Racing side, not scoring on the road since their match against the Courage back on July 7th. Stainbrook has the option back to Mater. Washington just really dominating the possession. No Louisville touches in the last few minutes.
Not only is it demoralizing to chase, it's also physically very tiring to continue to chase and to have to work to be able to try to get the ball back when the Spirit are making you chase shadows.
Washington switch it to the left side. Carl gives it back into Kawazi. Malay will win it back. A goal kick for Louisville. They'll be able to rest just for a second. Substitutions prepared to be made for the Washington Spirit. Trinity Rodman will come on. She will take off Courtney Brown. And it's Aneg Gutel to take off Esme Morgan.
It's be a welcome addition for the Washington Spirit, returning Trinity Rodman. It's been close to a month. September 20th was the last time she was available. They're going off through an injury, so to get back Trinity Rodman, seeing the emergence of Kuwasi. You are missing the likes of Ule Sar, Lacey Santos out with a thigh injury. Both Sullivan and Bethune are without, so getting back Trinity Rodman, getting her back to match fitness is going to be so important, and you can just see how excited she is to be back on the field with Hirschfeld.
Hirschfeld, the rookie. Trinity Rodman feels like a rookie. She's only 22 years old, but has been around for a long time in the NWSL. Started her NWSL career back in 2021. 8 goals, 6 assists on the season. Last year, had 5 goals, 2 assists, scored 3 goals in the Olympics for Washington. It's been a long season for the young player.
A lot of games, adding to the fact that she could have an injury. A better time for a snack than right now.
Yep.
You mentioned at just 22 years old, she's already has 23 career regular season goals. Makes you think just how high up the charts is she going to climb. We talked about Ashley Hatch going 6th all time on her own, getting beyond Megan Rapinoe with her penalty today. Look at the likes of the one just in front of Ashley Hatch, Jess McDonald at 54 goals, Alex Morgan 60 goals, Christine Sinclair, who just scored the other night, 65 goals, Lynn Williams still playing for Gotham at 68 goals, Sam Kerr at 77. Trinity Rodman can combine this level that she's played at so early on in her career with good fortune and good health. When it's all said and done, I wouldn't be shocked if you saw Trinity Rodman's name at or near the top of that list.
Heraldes has an excellent player in Trinity Rodman on his roster, one that you put on the field. She changes the game in such a positive way and really adds insult to injury for Racing Louisville. Anna Boutel, shores up the back line for Washington Spirit. Boutel has started in 20 matches for Washington, a consistent number to McKeown. Now Hirschfeld playing in the midfield for the first time without Andy Sullivan this season. Andy Sullivan going out in the match against Orlando, unfortunately with a season-ending ACL injury. A player who is just known to be a leader, and Coach Heraldes says she's somebody who just asks to make sure, is everybody okay? Off the field, she does the right things, and so disappointing for the young captain who will miss out on the playoffs this season with Washington. One of your favorite players, Jamie, in the midfield.
Really enjoyed Andy Sullivan, 28 years old. Now the question becomes, you get the ACL surgery. She's still an age, and where things stand with procedures and recovery time and all that stuff, that's still to be determined with how significant it is until the surgery happens. But you just start to think about the 2025 season and where things are and how much it'll impact her into that. We wish her a full recovery. The other side of the field, it's just a substitute coming on, right? It's not just any substitute. Trinity Rodman, one of the most dynamic players in the NWSL and in world football. So, Marmalade. That's not a task I envy, having to go defend those two women tonight.
Racing Louisville, they need 3 goals and more in this one if they want to put themselves in a good position going into match day 24 in the league. Doesn't get any easier for Racing Louisville. They'll travel home and will need the support of fans against Portland next week until they hit the road and travel to the West Coast to play against the Wave. And the Sears with the throw in on the far side of the field. Coach Inez chatting with her coaching staff. Typically a coach who's off her bench, pointing, giving direction, and right now trying to problem solve how Racing can get back in this one.
Good pass.
Gorgeous. A heavy touch out wide to Sears. Sears with the shot in the goal! It's an offside position for Sears. Unfortunate for Racing Louisville.
Like any goal, it will be checked by our video assistant, Greg Dopka. But I just wonder, as this shot came through, was there a slight deflection from Kayla Fisher in an offside position? Is that where this offside looked as though the buildup, which was a fantastic ball in from Becky, split 2 defenders into Borges. Watch as this comes across. So Fisher is in an offside position, but Emma Sears' shot goes in.
Right.
Now you have to decide, did Kayla Fisher from that offside position impact the play of the goalkeeper, Aubrey Kingsbury? I don't think she does. I don't think it impacted the sight lines. I think that this actually should be overturned after video review. Just from that look, if Fisher does not touch it.
NDI has his work cut out for him. He is having a conversation with the VAR to make sure that this one is the right call.
My first instinct is I don't think it is the correct call. Fisher doesn't touch the ball, so it comes off the shot of Emma Sears. Now, the only discussion is, and this is discretionary,
right?
Does Kayla Fisher, who is in an offside position, impact the goalkeeper? And it's going to go to video review for that reason. I think it's the right decision from Greg Dopka.
I'm doing NDI heading over to the VAR video screen to take a better look at that shot.
What you're going to see is Kayla Fisher's offside in the front of your screen. If she touches it, then this should be called offside. But also the other determination, when Emma Sears shoots this, does Fisher impact the play of Kingsbury? It does not involve the eyesight of Kingsbury. Fisher does not touch the ball. I think this is a proper recommendation for review, and I think the on-field decision should be reversed to a goal.
Would be a huge positive for Racing Louisville. NDI has made his decision. And it will be a goal for Racing Louisville. Emma Sears pulls one back for the away side. This is a big turning point for Racing Louisville here in the 74th minute. Let's take another look.
Watch this line-splitting pass between two defenders into Borges. Now Borges gets it quickly into the path to Sears. Good progressive first touch from Emma Sears. Smashes it low and hard to the far post. And that is a well-crafted team goal. The substitute, Emma Sears, brought on to make an offensive impact and does just that.
That goal is brought to you by Ruoff Mortgage. Emma Sears with a 72nd minute goal for Racing Louisville. Puts Racing Louisville in a position where looking like they have some energy after that one. Your player on this Racing Louisville side who has had to chase a lot of Washington Spirit possession. How does that Emma Sears goal change your mentality?
It's a big lift because you're starting to understand, if you're Racing Louisville, getting more numbers forward start to yield more chances going to goal. And that one was a good glimpse as to why Ari Borges needs to get to a higher position. She splits two defenders with one pass from Becky and puts in Emma Sears in 3 passes. There's a goal right there. Fantastic build-up for Racing Louisville.
Couple substitutions for Washington Spirit. Kate Wiesner comes on for Paige Mater. And Kawazi will come off. Brittany Ratcliffe will come on for Washington. Those substitutions are brought to you by Fortna. Kate Wiesner, the rookie out of Penn State. 2 goals, 5 assists in her career with the Nittany Lions. This year, she has only appeared in 13 games, struggled with a little bit of injury for Washington. Rosemont Kawazi put in a complete shift for Washington on that left-hand side. It'll be up to Brittany Ratcliffe to try and look for more for the Spirit. 76 minute of action alongside Jamie Watson. I'm Anna Whitty. A great one on tap here on Sunday night at Audi Field. Racing Louisville looking to get a little bit more on the ball. Right now, Washington Spirit have an insane XG of 3.26, 18 shots. Only 4 have been on target. And this Washington Spirit side so far has played a complete game against Racing Louisville. Looking for another one. Hatch out wide to Rodman. Rodman inside, back to Hatch. Hatch has Wiesner going forward, headed away by Flynn. Washington keeps Racing pinned in. Washington going back to their style. They've possessed a lot in this one. It's a high press from Fisher and Sears. Fisher wins it back for Racing. Sears off to the races.
Well, I would like to see Sears play that in behind for Becky.
Right. Now Washington has all their numbers dropped.
There is finally the left back in the box.
DeMello got wide to Sears.
You just see when Racing Louisville gets to the final third, there's no commitment to get in the box from several numbers. It's maybe one player individually, maybe 2. Collectively, there has to be 3, 4, and 5 players. Just watch the difference when Washington, even though they're up late, see how they get numbers forward into the box when they get their chance to attack.
Malay now playing a lot higher in that left back role for Racing. They need a goal here. Roughly 12 minutes to go in regulation. Hatch for the Spirit. Hatch, in her 150th appearance, gives it off to Morris.
Oh, good cover.
Washington Spirit. Match day 23, looking for the result. Up next, they will take on Chicago at home, then they will travel to the North Carolina Courage. If Racing Louisville loses this one today, Chicago Red Stars will clinch a spot in the playoffs, so Red Stars fans certainly keeping their fingers crossed that the scoreline stays the way it is. Racing fans, 3 points, or at least 1 point, a tie, would put Racing Louisville in a much better position going into match day 24.
Even defending the Washington Spirit get more numbers in the box than what Racing Louisville have been doing. There were 3 defenders for Washington Spirit. It's a problem that Yanez has known about all season. It's why the trade was made to try to get Bethany Balser, but it's got to get more numbers forward. And that looks really uncomfortable for Taylor Flint. As she made the tackle, her knee was stuck in the ground and she got run into, and there was some movement in that knee.
Flint down on the ground. She is in some obvious pain as she holds on to that left leg. Collision between Flint and Hirschfeld as Flint is slow to get back up.
Watch Flint's left leg. Oh, she was planted too, and Hirschfeld came through. Oh no, that is tough to see. Taylor Flint is incredibly strong to be able to get up after that.
Taylor Flint, such a fun player to watch in the midfield this season. Her first year in a Racing Louisville kit, came over from the San Diego Wave, only 25 years old. She is a player who really does use her body. She's good in closing down those spaces, and Yanez, lucky to have her as just that shield for the back line this season. Has kept racing in a lot of games. Savannah DeMello, the halftime sub for Racing Louisville, kept fairly quiet in this one. Foul called. It's Hirschfeld who goes down. DeMello commits the foul. Washington will move it again. Washington Spirit, aside coming into this NWSL season, started with their interim head coach, Adrian Gonzalez, got off to a great start. Hatch, the shot from distance, why not if you're Ashley Hatch? Lund will collect. Racing Louisville, a few changes to their lineup this season with their new head coach and Bev Yanez. Looking to play a different style, want to possess, want to get that high press. They had 2 new additions in Janine Becky and Bethany Balser, not just for this season, but you look forward to Racing Louisville in 2025. They're trying to solidify numbers on every single line, and that's what Becky and Balser have provided.
To Racing Louisville, they're at, let's say, median age for most of the players, so you're getting a group that's not necessarily too young, definitely not too old. You're going to have to figure out which players are going to be the key component in the core of this group going forward. And that's always the challenge, figuring out who's going to be in, who will be out. But I think you got some really good key pieces to try to figure out. And Emma Sears, she just scored her 5th goal of the season as a rookie. I think she's a player that can at least come in off the bench and provide some significant minutes and some key impact. She can also be a player that, with the right group around her, that can facilitate her style of play, that can expose, and lean into her speed. I think she could be a part of a front 3 if that's what Racing Louisville want to do. You got DeMello, you got Flint, you've got on the back line, Malay. She's always been a consistent figure to this group, but there's just a lot of good pieces to the puzzle for Racing Louisville, but they're still going to need to add a little bit more in this offseason to start to contend with the likes of Washington Spirit and Gotham and Orlando Pride. And really that upper echelon of the NWSL.
Racing Louisville do have a solid core when it comes to their general manager, Ryan Dell, done an excellent job going in, scouting out players. Bev Yanez in her first year, trying to build a collective team. You look at what Orlando Pride did last season with Seb Hines and their general manager, Haley Carter. Weren't a complete team quite yet, but they made strides into getting better, missing the playoffs last year, and now for the first time in club history, Shield winners. It can be done. Sometimes it just takes time. Malay drives up wide. Run by Wiesner, she'll clear it out. Ball inside to Sears. Sears, inside. Headed inside, a shot from Fisher blocked. Louisville in an offside position anyway. That will not create anything for Racing here in the 85th minute.
This was really good work from Emma Sears, and Aaron right at the back post is going to go flying into it. She gets collided into it. It's actually Becky, but you think back to the big chances that Racing Louisville have missed. This one that Kayla Fisher needs to score. Bethany Balser inside the first 90 seconds of this half. This game could look completely different if Racing Louisville were able to finish their chances from inside the 6-yard box.
Sears has offered several opportunities for Racing, a player that Yanez says has special ability. Coach Yanez says she's so careful with the verbiage that she uses with Sears because she's great now, but there's so much that Sears can add to her game as just a rookie that for years to come, she encourages her to get better and better in those 1v1 situations and really work on her defensive aspects. Substitution prepared for the Spirit. Lena Solano will come on, and she will take off. The brace goal scorer, McKenna Morris. First rookie brace for McKenna Morris. And Lena Solano will come on in her 10th appearance for the Spirit this season.
Really good performance from Morris. Put herself in the right position in the first half to be able to intercept the pass from Lund. That changed the whole complexion of this match. And then she was there to apply the finish. The timeliness of the second goal from McKenna Morris really was backbreaking for Racing Louisville to go down 2-0 just before half.
Substitution is brought to you by Fortna. Another substitution made for Racing Louisville. Maddie Picorni comes on. Janine Becky will come off. That will be the end of the Canadian Internationals Day. Maddie Picorni joined as a national team replacement player in 2023. She signed a deal through the 2025 seasons, has 3 league titles in the Danish league. This is her 10th appearance for Racing Louisville. Hirschfeld, a lot of time in front of her. Audi Field feeling that win coming their way. Washington Spirit had already clinched home field advantage, a spot in the playoffs in the quarterfinals. However, this even further solidifies their spot at the top of the table. Ball in behind to Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe a touch inside, cleared by Jean. Brittany Ratcliffe, featuring in her 6th club in the NWSL, had 3 goals this season for Washington. A player who comes off the bench, and she certainly provides at times for Geralda's side a massive key to the Spirit's depth. Play on. Ball goes all the way back to Lund. Foul called against Fisher. Keown going up for it. Racing Louisville, you can see the disappointment in Fisher's face. It is not the scoreline Racing Louisville came into expecting. Yanez said it was such a great week of training. They had worked on the adjustments. They felt good coming into this game against Washington. And to drop this result changes the playoff picture for sure.
When you look at the course of the 90 minutes for Racing Louisville, there was nobody that really stepped up to be a game changer individually.
Yeah.
Washington Spirit had the likes of Rosemont Kouassi, who was downright devastating in 1v1 situations, and a lesser defender than Laura Millay would have really struggled to defend against Kouassi, but she was just special. And I think a group that, for the Washington Spirit, who were without several key components to start this matchup, they needed somebody to be special, and Kouassi was that for Racing Louisville. In the offensive third, there really wasn't that. And it took until Emma Sears came on for somebody who could maybe stretch the field a little bit. She got a great individual effort for a goal, but when you look at the collective of where things sit for Racing Louisville right now, they just don't have an incredible center forward that changes the dynamic. Ball serve is an improvement,
right?
But it's just not the same right now. And Washington Spirit, the reason they sit now second after tonight's result is they have the likes of Trinity Rodman, Kouassi. They're missing Ule Sar. They're missing Corey Bethune. All these incredible individual talents that work really well within this group. And Racing Louisville, as they will hold on to their playoff hopes and will need to get maximum 6 points from their final 2 games and some help along the way to be able to get that final playoff spot. Next year, the big thing is I think Racing Louisville is going to have to try to find a real dynamic forward that can score goals and be an individual threat.
You look at the teams in the NWSL that have already clinched a spot in the playoffs and are having a lot of success with a real 9. It's Barbara Banda, that lead player for Orlando Pride, Washington Spirit, have Ule Sar, Trinity Rodman, and Kansas City Current with Timwa Shawinga making history last night, the most NWSL goals in a regular season with 19. That's the difference in the NWSL. Substitution made for Racing Louisville, presented by Fortuna. Ari Borges will come out and Parker Goins will come on the field. Stoppage time is presented by the Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. 7 minutes of stoppage time from Audi Field. Washington Spirit with a commanding 3-1 lead over Racing. Free kick for Racing Louisville. Right in the area. Jean cuts it back inside. Finds it out wide to Emma Sears. Nice touch by Sears. Sears in the area. Headed away by Washington. Corney races to get there. She won't be able to keep it in play. It will be a Washington throw-in. Racing Louisville has really struggled away on the road this season. A 1-5-5 record on the road. Only 1 win this season. Racing Louisville will drop their 3rd straight game. To start the last 7 games for Racing Louisville after that international break. They've only seen 3 wins, 4 losses. They're looking at their 5th loss.
I think back to that matchup against the Utah Royals, in which you looked at Racing Louisville going to a team that was thereabouts at the bottom of the NWSL table, and that loss against the Utah Royals is 3 valuable points that this team right now, would have them level with Bay FC for the final playoff spot just on the outside via the goal differential tiebreaker. But little moments like that, the one win on the road all season, it's just not going to be enough to be able to get you in the playoff if you can't go on the road and get results. And then ultimately, even if you are able to sneak in, you get into the playoffs with just one road win.
Right.
You got to go on the road to start. It doesn't make for a good recipe. Now, having said that, Gotham proved everything to turn upside down as they got into the playoffs last year with the 6th and final spot.
Right.
And they go on and win the NWSL championship. So at least you give yourself a chance to be able to win a trophy at the end of the year. But Louisville, I think it's eyes more on 2025 more so than maybe what 2024 realistically can be. But crazier things have happened.
Crazier things have happened in the NWSL. There's a ton of parity. Changes happen all the time. And this is going to be a corner kick presented by Louisville Ladder. Savannah DeMello will stand over it. DeMello, 5 goals on the season for Racing Louisville. DeMello has the option for a short pass to Picorni. DeMello inside. Headed on. Malay takes a shot out of the air, and that'll go wide.
It's really important that the defender for Washington Spirit goes and closes down because Lauren Malay now has to force this shot before she can get there. And if Solano is late or doesn't go and press, then Malay can wait for that to come down just a little bit lower and be able to get a real good strike on target. Instead, it's rushed. Her body shape is all wrong, and that chance goes begging.
Racing Louisville in a position where realistically they would only grab the 7th or 8th spot in the NWSL standings at the end of the season. That would put them either traveling to play Orlando away or at this point Washington away at Audi Field. This would be 2 difficult results for head coach Bev Yanez and this Racing Louisville side based on the performances that they've had on the road of late. 1 win on the road in the season in the NWSL is also just not the standard. You can't expect to find yourself in a competitive playoff spot if you can only get 1 result away from Lynn Family. Hatch stays with it. Hatch not able to get it out wide to Rodman, who had stopped her run. Just over a minute to go left in stoppage time from Audi Field. Washington Spirit with a 3-1 lead over Racing Louisville. It all started with McKenna Morris, 36-minute goal and a 43-minute goal. Ashley Hatch put away a penalty kick goal in the 56th minute until Emma Sears came back in the 72nd minute to get Racing on the score sheet. An error pass by Flint, picked up by Solano. Solano! Lena Solano, her 2nd goal this season, gives Washington a 4-1 lead in stoppage time.
For the 3rd time tonight, Racing Louisville commits a turnover that the Washington Spirit punish. Solano does a great job of selling the fake to get Jean to bite. And watch how quickly her release is. That's what catches Lund. It's great placement. But that's how this goal is crafted. Nothing Lund can do about it with that quick release, that precision on the finish from Solano. But again, you can't make these amount of mistakes and expect to get anything from the match.
NDI blows his whistle. That is it from Audi Field. Head coach Jonathan Heraldes and the Washington Spirit take a 5-1 win at home as Bev Yanez and Racing Louisville travel back to Kentucky, dropping no points. Well, tonight's final score is brought to you by PNC Bank. Washington Spirit at Audi Field have 4 goals to Racing Louisville's 1. We'll break it all down right after this. Don't go anywhere. It's Washington Spirit 4, Racing Louisville 1.
a confirmed tornado on the ground.
When severe weather strikes,
Now we've confirmed the damage. We continue to track the storm.
you hear about it first on Wave News,
We're just watching television and, keeping Channel 3 on.
alerting you to dangerous conditions,
85 miles per hour on that rotation.
keeping you informed,
And bringing you team coverage of that tornado.
keeping you updated.
Some rotation as well as heavy rainfall.
When severe weather strikes, trust Wave News.
At Typical Insurance, you're just another senior.
That is the third health insurance commercial with seniors at a farmer's market.
Right? Don't get me wrong. I love a fresh heirloom, but it's like those companies think we're all the same.
That's why I chose Humana. Before I signed up, I spoke to someone who actually listened to what I needed. She told me about benefits that were right for me, like vision and dental, all in my budget. I finally feel in control. What are you doing?
Taking control.
Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
Okay, ideas. Where are we going?
I got one.
What about a comedy show?
I've seen you. I've swiped on you. No. Okay. Tacos.
Definitely tacos.
The all-new Camry is 100% hybrid. Lease one now for $299 per month or get 4.99 APR financing. Find your vibe in the all-new, all-hybrid Camry. Toyota, let's go places.
Trust your Wave storm tracking team to keep you prepared.
With our alert days, you can plan ahead of dangerous weather. No one else in Louisville is doing that.
We're also the only team with a 10-day forecast. Because you're not just planning for today, you're planning for your life.
We're giving you the information you need so you know what to expect and what to wear.
Our whole focus is to keep you prepared every single day.
Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harnett and your Wave storm tracking team, the team you trust.
At Typical Insurance, you're just another senior.
That is the third health insurance commercial with seniors at a farmer's market.
Right? Don't get me wrong. I love a fresh heirloom, but it's like those companies think we're all the same.
That's why I chose Humana. Before I signed up, I spoke to someone who actually listened to what I needed. She told me about benefits that were right for me, like vision and dental, all in my budget. I finally feel in control. What are you doing?
Taking control.
Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
Washington Spirit with a 4-1 win over Racing Louisville. It all started with an errant pass from Katie Lunn in goal.
The big story for the night will be the 3 mistakes for Racing Louisville that were punished. This one uncharacteristic for Lund, who is exceptional with her feet, except for this time where she makes a poor pass, goes to the inside of her foot instead of trying to get under this and clip it over to right. McKenna Morris, the rookie, makes her pay. On this one, just before half, 4 giveaway from Jean. Now Malay's out of position because she had pushed forward. Kawase attacks the space. McKenna Morris peels off to the back post, and when Ursek comes over to provide some support, Kawase astutely plays it across. It's the first brace from a rookie all season in the NWSL, and Kawase was the architect. Morris, the benefactor. Going to half 2-0 down. Kawase again